Vasca at all. Not at all. You know the West Indies couldn't out the Vasca at all. Rajan Jurani, Solka Abidali, Dilip Sadesai and Vishwanath. They make West Indies bowlers look like second-raters when those fellows came out here to bat. West Indies tried holder and keep voice. They had no other choice. They even tried with Newton Dow, but a shot at the sorry they bring him now. It was Gavaskar, the real master. Like a wall, we couldn't out the Vasca at all, not at all. You know the West Indies couldn't out the Vasca at all. Little Desmond Lewis, also Charlie Davis, they take a little shame from out we face. But Sobers as a captain, he won plenty coaching before we cricket end up in a disgrace. Beatty here that he became a father, he catch out Holford in the cover. But when Sobers here, he too had a son, he make duck and went back in the pavilion. It was Gavaskar, the real master. Just like a wall, we couldn't out the Vasca at all, not at all. You know the West Indies couldn't out the Vasca at all. You know the West Indies couldn't out the Vasca at all. You know the West Indies couldn't out the Vasca at all.
And Tobago, and welcome to this great show.
A lovely day for cricket,
that
blue skies and gentle breeze
bring for you every evening. Of course, we do apologize for our late start this evening. We had some serious matters of state to deal with this evening. It is not uncommon for that to happen. So this evening, and I'm looking outside, is a bit overcast also in Port of Spain. So I understand the challenges with my other host. Yeah, good evening, and good evening to all those that are listening. Good evening to those in New York that have been waiting on this show to begin. Good evening to those in all parts of Trinidad and Tobago who are usually locked on and listening to us on the evenings, those commuting on your way home, of course, in your taxis or in your private cars going home and listen to us every evening. I want to say good evening and hope you had a great day today. As usual, we try to entertain you with good analysis, and you can also chime in and give us your thoughts on the issues that we discuss in this studio. Yeah, so, you know, today we would certainly want to talk to you. We certainly want, there are some issues that we want to raise. I personally would like to raise. And as you know, if you listen to the promo of the show, usually we talk about all the issues in the news, but we also talk about geopolitical issues that sometimes can affect us. And as usually I will talk about that in some way at some time in the program. Today I saw that warships are sailing to Venezuela, and I don't know how many of us know how close we are, Trinidad and Tobago is to Venezuela. We are very close. For those who would usually go to Tobago on the Tobago boat, you'll realize now more than ever, when the boat goes out to that extra 2 miles and closer to Venezuela, you feel like you could actually touch the Venezuelan mainland. We are very, very close to Venezuela. And what we are seeing, albeit on the other side of Venezuela, we are seeing warships, battleships, are sailing towards Venezuela. And what the U.S. is saying as to the reason why that has happened, they are saying that they are trying to combat drug dealers and narco traffickers. I don't really believe that. I don't know what is your thoughts. I don't really believe that. You ain't going to send warships to combat narco traffickers when there are ships built or vessels built specifically for that kind of thing. You send in battleship and carriers and all that kind of thing to the Caribbean and by extension Venezuela. That to me says a lot more, right? We know, I have a view on the US and Venezuela. Venezuela has a lot of proven oil reserves, and to a large extent they can tip the balance they can tip the balance in terms of the price of oil and the price, not just the price of oil, but the strength of Venezuela in this part of the world. And of course, Venezuela is always seen as an extension of socialist or communist regimes in this part of the hemisphere, for which the US, of course, is opposed of. So if they can keep Venezuela in a particular mold, in a particular place all the time, it will work out better for them, right? Unless, of course, you have a situation like what took place in Russia or in the Middle East 2 years ago or so, and the price of oil is threatened, or the flow of oil to some extent is compromised. Then, of course, Venezuela will become of more strategic importance to the U.S. And therefore, the position of the U.S. at that time might be a little different, as we saw 2 years ago. Right, so those are developments that Trinidad and Tobago should also observe and know that Venezuela might not necessarily be a proxy in a case like this, but it could have some destabilizing effects. What the U.S. is attempting to do now, they are of course saying that they are doing it for narco trafficking and that kind of thing. I don't think they need to send all that amount of ships and that kind of thing in this part of the world. They haven't done it before, and I don't see the need so much to do that, given what we know, given where it is, right? So that is my position. That is a development that we should observe closely, and yeah, we need to pay particular attention to what's going on there, because it could affect us in many ways in the not too distant future if it should develop into anything else. I was also looking at something that came out in the newspapers. I saw it today, where an issue that we were discussing sometime before, as it relates to the CPEP contractors and the CPEP contractors dispute before the court. They would have, but we know what the court would have said earlier on before with respect to their claim before the court. And of course, they would have tried to appeal the decision of the court. Well, I saw that where the court would have denied the appeal, the High Court would have denied the appeal, or the matter going as being registered as an appeal, and that also should say something in relation to where the matter could go. Now, a couple friends and I were talking about what are the consequences to the workers. I don't think there are much consequences to the workers, except that they are out of work now, and they are not. I'm not even thinking that they may be out of work because of what's going on. That might have happened anyway, right? The government has signaled its intention to address the situation in terms of restructuring the program, and as I say all the time, even to those who think that I may sound biased, you know, I am a strategic thinking person, and I think that long before they would have made that decision to do that, I was saying, a lot of people were saying that maybe we need to restructure those kind of programs so that it will become more beneficial for the people of Trinidad and Tobago, and it will also help in terms of productivity, right? So I am seeing my other fellow umpire is calling. Let's give him let's take this call and hear what he has to say. Good evening, Ronaldo.
Yes, good afternoon,
Good
man.
afternoon. Yeah.
Good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago. I'm listening your introduction on the U.S. Venezuela issue, and quite succinct. I don't think anything needs to be added to that. But on the related to the matter you're on, I think we have to accept that there are two issues at hand. One is the court matter, and the other is the restructuring matter of CPEP. And I would want to advocate for a little more dialogue and transparency concerning the latter.
That is the latter, meaning meaning the restructuring?
Yes, the restructuring. Workers should not really, or the public at large should not be left to wonder what is going to happen.
Well, I think while you are correct, because at the end of the day, these people still have to feed themselves and the families and that kind of thing, but we would have all exhausted. Yeah, Ronaldo, sorry, I realize you dropped off the call.
Yeah, I was going to echo. Yeah, workers should not be left to wonder what is going to happen concerning this whole CPEP thing. I know the government may be at full length trying to think about what is a workable solution, but you have to manage the two issues separately. While the court matter is a matter to be attended by either the court, and we see the appeal and the loss of appeal for it to be heard, urgent, and all these kind of a strategic moves by the bowling side. The other issue is the future of CPEP and these make work programs, and how are we going to not only fund it, which I think will be the government's biggest consideration, and I will give them that. To have to access any of those funds now before the budget will be very difficult. I admit that. I can see that being a macroeconomic issue. But the long-term in IR and HR issue will be, what type of work do we want these people to be involved in, and how some of the... So I think they should really garner some thoughts on restructuring, because you want public engagement, you want the feeling of safety and security, knowing that it will be revamped, maybe albeit in a different form. I don't think silence fills that gap. I think silence gives room to rumor mongering and all the bacchanal and chaos And we have had enough of that. But there is a serious issue at hand, which is the employment issue. How do you want these workers to be engaged? What are the type of contracts are they going to be offered? What are the terms and conditions of these contracts? Are you going to go through the same format with a middleman? Because what you realize coming out of the case is that the same, according to the documents and the articles published, the same Eastman Enterprises, it has been quoted how much money they have made over the number of years and how many other contracts they do have. And resoundingly, what is emphatic out of the judgment is that CPEP was never meant to be long-term employment. Now, if that is so, and that is the theory going forward, then that must be made emphatically clear. It must be practiced. You know, it has been exploited by both sides. But that whole dialogue with the public about what is going to be new, what are the expectations? Are people going to expect the same contracts based on party and partisan? Are we going that way? Then how are you going to recruit?
Well, you know, I don't want to be the one who are accused of trying to rehash the same thing over and over and over in relation to what was said and what is in the public with respect to this. I remembered clearly, because I listened, I remembered that the Prime Minister would have indicated on one of, I think it was on a 100-year review, review of the position since in office, she would have indicated that one of the things that she didn't want to see is the abuse of workers in a certain kind of way. And even if these workers had to be entertained in any other the spectrum of work under CPEP, it would be in a way that would be fair. Maybe I'm thinking they are looking at probably even paying these people more money than those people, giving them the necessary benefits that all other workers enjoy, right? That is maternity leave and sick leave and holidays and all that kind of thing. Now, with that in mind, if that in fact happens, if it goes in that direction, obviously it will not be set in the same the same package as it was before, because remember before, as you just indicated, it was not designed as a job. It was designed as a kind of a training training program where you work for a couple of hours and then you assess training and you maybe look to wean yourself out and get funding to start a business and that kind of thing. So I'm thinking that may not necessarily be the way, because there's a genuine need also for what they do. So I'm thinking that she probably is trying to reform the program and coin the program in a way where you can get real productivity, real work, and at the same time workers have some kind of productive way to live, or get something from working at CPEP and not just a small salary and you go home and you do nothing and you learn nothing, and at least you could take care of yourself and your family from a job. Say you could go to the bank with a job letter, you have whether it's a contract or whatever, but you have some kind of stability. And I'm thinking that is the way they might be going. But I don't want to preempt anything because I don't know for sure.
Well, it's not preempting you. I think you're making good contributions, and we must be responsible in terms of engendering and fostering a kind of think tank, because we know we have listeners all over, and who knows, one of our ideas might land. But as practitioners ourselves, we believe in the consultative process. And consultation with the workers could be going on in the interim meanwhile, because you could look at the different benefits that you can offer workers in a different type of job. Because you should, even if it's contributory, and it should be contributory on the contractor side and the worker side. Now, that type of management and it should be compulsory. You can't leave it up to the contractor to paying something for the workers. That has to be taken out, so that when you exit the program, you should exit with a handshake.
This is why. If I at all I was the government, I'd just eliminate that contractor relationship, you know, and just probably put it like just like how you have URP and thing, but more structured and more with more checks and balances and responsibilities and that kind of thing.
Well, we know from industrial relations practice why people put in these middle people and what they try to avoid, especially with the accusations leveled on both sides of this whole political stockpiling and all this kind of a thing. But it is not good labor relations, because that middle person really is just a farce. That is just a fence to really avoid certain responsibilities. We understand that from a management perspective, that, you know, so you try to avoid certain things. So that is why the workers are now under the employ of the contractor and not directly the CPEP organization. But that too should be relooked. Is that the best way of managing labor? Is just the best way of managing labor?
And that's what I'm saying. And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because of the kind of how the Prime Minister would have coined it, clearly that may be the direction they are heading in, you know, changing the working relationship and making the job as a CPEP worker more sustainable for the individual, so that at least you could get a loan from the bank, you could get sick leave, you could get holidays, you could get all that kind of thing. And by so doing, you are also changing the whole structure of the program, because the program, as we would have indicated, it was designed not for that. But what they're doing work that is genuinely needed in Trinidad and Tobago, you know.
Yes, and they work in communities where other services are like that are needed, and other places in the community are derelict, you know, and forgotten. So there's a need to even use the skills that they develop. They do a very necessary work, but how they manage and how they utilize, I think they're underutilized, to be honest. But obviously the matter of compensation would have to be addressed. But we also have to look at the exit. The exit is also important. When you leave CPEP, what must you have?
Well, it wouldn't be if what we're saying is what I might be doing, it wouldn't be a question of leaving CPEP. You leave CPEP and you retire because you now have a job you're doing, which is in my opinion, which it wasn't before. So you now have a work you could go to every morning, and now you know you have a job, you have all the bells and whistles that classify you as a worker, and you know, that kind of thing. That probably is not what exists now, right? So that might be the model in which you're going, and if that's the way they're going, then it might work in the best interest of workers in that kind of way.
Yeah, well, I know the model now gives them the ability in theory, and I'm watching your time, so I know you may be going to a break soon. In theory, it allows them to rotate and cater for a wider number of people.
Right.
Now we've heard from the data that has not been so.
But if that is so, Ronaldo, then they will have to be retained on like short-term contracts.
Beautiful, but you see, the short-term contract is not the problem. The problem is that we say short-term contract and have not kept it short-term. But even if it's short-term, like any other short-term contract, when you leave, what do you leave with?
Right.
Can you leave with a skills development,
and you see, so that was the whole ethos. That was the whole purpose of what you saying there. Was the whole purpose of the program in the person, but that's a totally different model from what we're talking about here, right? We're talking about a model where people need work and they need a proper salary and they need to be respected as workers and they need to be given all the benefit as workers and that kind of thing. And therefore, the whole workplace will change and the whole expectation by the worker from the employer and the whole expectation of the worker himself will change, you know. So now he could feel secured in a kind of way that he have a job. He could go to the bank and get a loan. He can live a normal life like everybody else, and that may be, from all indication, be the direction in which she's heading.
Yes. Well, I'll come off now and allow you to go to the break and chime back in.
Yeah. Alright, so yeah. So let me take this call because I see our next caller trying to call me. Good evening, caller. Good evening, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Mr. Matheson and Miss Sumara.
Yeah.
Good afternoon.
I see you was calling a couple times long before, but we only called with one of our umpires. So
I heard when you were talking just now, you said if you were the government, but don't forget, we are the government. They are in administration, so it would be nice. Your plans sounds very good. You and Mr. I forget the one who called in. What I want to find out, I don't say anything until I hear what is being ruled out, what will have to go into Parliament and all that. I like to hear that. But before, like how you are saying good plans and things, why don't you put your good plans, because it's not she, Miss what her name is, Kamala, the minister, it's not she. You are a part of it. We all are. So why don't you all put what you are saying here on radio, on paper, put it on paper, and get an audience with her, with the committee or the cabinet or whoever you can get into your representative or whoever. Go to them and say, hey, while you all are discussing, these are our plans. You know, put forth your plans.
Well, we are not. That's not our job. I mean, you could do that. You could. Listen.
What is that?
We're going for a break, so you could probably call us back after the break. We're going to.
No, but you just said you if you was the government.
Yeah, I know.
But you are the government.
Okay.
And so do we.
You say if you would say so and so. Where would you say it, to us?
Join the winning team with Pastor Alkaline John
every Wednesday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. and every Thursday night from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m.
live on the street 919 FM as he talks about Lviv, the power of 5 fruits, one of the most powerful antioxidant supplements on the market today. The 5 superfruits in Lviv are mangosteen, acai, pomegranate, goji, and nuni. These fruits have a positive and profound impact on human health, performance, and disease. Join him as he gives live testimonials of the Lviv healing powers. To get more information, you can contact Pastor Alkaline John at 516-286-7079, or you can visit his webpage at www.alkalinejohn.com. Remember,
every Wednesday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. and every Thursday night from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m.
live on the street 919 FM.
The #1 bookstore in Trinidad is having the biggest back-to-school sale for the holidays.
Shop at Sharon's Bookstore for the biggest back-to-school sale.
All your kindergarten, preschool,
primary, secondary school,
and tertiary education supplies at ridiculously low prices. Sharon's also carries a wide range of sneakers, socks, t-shirts, vests for girls and boys,
and much more items for school. So don't miss Sharon's back-to-school sale.
Now on Eastern Main Road, San Juan, Tutapuna.
2 locations at Trin City Mall, ground level and first level. We're also open on Sundays from 8 a.m. Check us on Facebook for up-to-date info and promotions. Also, message us for a quick response.
If you love summer and you love pizza, then you'll love Pizza Hut's all-you-can-eat summer. Head to the Hut for a big buffet every day. Then simply upload your receipt to our social media pages for a chance to win a PlayStation 5, a 5-island cabana experience for you and 9 friends, and so much more. Check our socials for details. Pizza Hut, now that's delivering.
This Java, get ready to chase the crunch with KFC. Dip it, dunk it, and drip it with our juiciest chicken tenders ever for as low as $29.95.
It's Java, it's summertime. KFC makes it all come alive. Big limestone into big appetite. It's the beach with KFC. Yeah.
Choose our hot and spicy or extra crispy non-spicy tenders and dip, dunk, and drip into our flavorful sauces, Java style.
spice up the summer, let's go.
So, chase the crunch and make Java finger-licking good with KFC.
I love you.
The Trinidad and Tobago Council of Evangelical Churches, together with national cultural icon Mr. William Monroe, presents the first ever national concert of choirs, Divine Harmonies, Saturday, December 6, 2025 at the Grandstand, Queen's Park, Savannah. Choirs will be competing for prize money to the tune of $250,000, with the winner walking away with the grand prize of $100,000. We invite all church choirs nationwide to participate in this spiritual, cultural, and musical richness that will bring upliftment to our nation and redound to the glory of God. Tickets will be available August 15th from Maranatha Bookstore and outlets of the Trinidad and Tobago Council of Evangelical Churches. For more information, call 719-9599 or 497-0361. Divine Harmonies, ushering in the glory of God. This is Apostle Anthony Golson, and I'm inviting you to be there.
Don't miss the biggest price meltdown at Furniture Plus this summer. Shop dining room sets from $15.99, bedroom combos from $20.69, plus free delivery with select living room furniture. Shop the best deals at Furniture Plus today.
Blessings in the wonderful name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. You are invited to listen to the Final Hour broadcast, heard every Monday from 12 midnight to 5 a.m. in the morning on The Street 919 FM radio. Hear my mom, Pastor Helen Garcia, and myself, Pastor Valentine Garcia Jr., preach the Word of God to the elderly, youth, and children. We can be contacted at 629-0113 or 623-8444. The church is located at 26 Prince Street in Port of Spain. We look forward to you joining us. God bless you.
As my life I lay it on the altar, as my life.
Ikaro, I am Alatumishe Ifaba Mishe Aganki, better known as MC Duke. And
every Monday between the hours of 9 p.m. to midnight,
I host a show called Orisha, The Way of Life, right here on the Street 919 FM, where I have guests passing through from the Orisha Ifa Baptist Diaspora to educate, edify, and inform you, the listening public, about Orisha Ifa practices. So remember to tune in
every Monday between the hours of 9 p.m. to midnight
for Orisha, The Way of Life.
Looking for a preschool for your child? Well, look no further. At Leaping Learners Preschool, we believe that every child deserves a jumpstart to success in a safe and loving environment. We prepare your little ones for primary school while giving them the care and attention they deserve, whether they're 3 or 7 years old. At Leaping Learners Preschool, we cater to children with special needs and provide long hours of care from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. so you can rest easy knowing your child is in good hands. And for our tiniest learners, babies aged 3 months to 2 years, we offer nurturing daycare services to help them grow and thrive. Join the Leaping Learners family today. Find us on Facebook and Instagram at Leaping Learners Preschool or visit our website at leapinglearnerstt.com to learn more. We are located in Barataria. Called 744-1523. That's 744-1523. Your child's future begins with a leap.
Tune in to The Street 919 FM every Friday from 9:15 a.m. to 9:45 a.m. with Kingdom Health Services, situated at number 125 to 186 Eastern Main Road in Tunapuna, for the program Health and Healing, merging the old with the new, with Mr. Brent Diet. For more information, call 318-7471 or 484-0141 or 360-4100. It's all about Kingdom Health Services on The Street 919 FM.
Share the live. Share the live. The Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram. Share the live. Iowa George on Instagram. Share the live. Iowa TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
Yes, callers and listeners, we are back. So I am here with my fellow umpire, Simoya.
Good afternoon.
Female umpire. She is the square leg umpire today. And we had a little while ago on the phone the video umpire and of course myself. Good evening again.
Good evening, everyone. Great show as usual.
Great show as usual. So we were talking about, well, we spoke, I was talking earlier about the situation in Venezuela and these warships that are sailing to Venezuela right now, and I was giving my 2 cents as to what I feel it is. I know that we don't pay much attention to geopolitics in Trinidad and Tobago, but it is of great importance in my view. It says it's like politics, you know, is the means by which everything else is necessary, and it affects us in some way from time to time. Then we were also talking about the CPEP situation. I was mentioning earlier on that the court would have turned down the opposition's request for an appeal in the decision made by the court a couple of weeks ago. And of course, we were also talking about the restructuring of CPEP and how it would benefit workers. So persons were chiming in. The last caller, in fact, she was saying that maybe we should produce a paper and give to the government. I don't think that's we role. There are other people who could do that. We here, we just talk on the issues. We give our analyses, and you could take what you want from it. You could also read the papers, and you have your position. You are Trini, you see what's going on. You could write to the government and tell them what you think they should do. We think we are just guessing from what the Prime Minister would have said in relation to the CPEP situation, that they may in fact be restructuring the program, and some of the things that she would have indicated, because these are things that she said on the political platform, that persons, not just CPEP workers, but people working in these programs need to be given some kind of security. It makes no sense working, and even if you're working for $4,000 a month, and you cannot get the basic things as a worker, you're not getting no kind of job security, meaning you can't go to a bank, you don't have a letter, you could go to a bank, you don't have, even if you have a letter, you don't have something saying that you have any kind of stability. And you know the bank in Trinidad and Tobago, they look at stability. So you don't have sick leave and pension and
entitlements
all the other
worker.
things, bells and whistles of a worker. So those are things I suspect they may be want to introduce in these programs when, if and when they bring them back, right? So that to us was, you know, that was where the discussion went, and the first part of the first third of the Third Empire shows. In this segment, we want to look at some of the other issues. I was reading the issue with the Brand Lara, but it's not really a controversy. I don't know why it's sounding so much like a controversy. I just find from, and you know, before I say what I'm going to say, a friend was telling me that sometimes I sound biased. Biased towards the in support of the government. And I don't believe so. You know, I'm an objective thinking person, and I say it as I see it. There was a time when I was really biased, and was biased for the opposition, right? And I was saying a lot of things, repeating a lot of things. At the time I didn't have a mic, but I was repeating a lot of things, some of which was greatly unfounded. And I wasn't hearing those people saying that, hey, what you're saying is just wrong, because it's supported their narrative all the time, that the UNC is corrupt and all that kind of thing. So for them, that sounds good. But really and truly, where the evidence of that? I mean, even if that is the case.
Is that this government, at least through
but they seem to
Padarat,
be,
he is producing
evidence of certain things, and that to me
you can't really fight data.
Exactly, you can't fight it. So this brand liar thing, I think Rowley was out of place. I mean, you shouldn't even be talking again, right?
Some would say.
You shouldn't even be talking again, because you come and you talking about how Scotch Youth and UNC Scotch Youth policy affecting a cricket legend like Brian Lara. Where are the evidence of that? When in fact the contract ended on 2022 under your administration.
So since
it was never
2022
renewed.
it hasn't been renewed.
Renewed. So what is it saying? The UNC common officers should just renew it? I don't understand. I mean, sometimes the things that becomes issues in Trinidad and Tobago is amazing. That would not, I would have hush if I was see. So a lot of things they saying on the other side, they should just hush, just wait and look for them to make real, genuine errors, and then start to talk. Hush your mouth and your people like you more if you just don't say anything.
Oh my Lord, Matheson.
No, I mean thinking about it. It's like, you know, a woman just talking, and
why
you
you
know,
have to say woman?
turn off. I know, or a man just talking, and he could make himself a lot more productive by not saying nothing.
Understood. And I mean, in all fairness, is a caller coming through? I'm seeing. Maybe.
Yeah. Let's take this caller. Good evening, caller.
Good afternoon, umpire.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to the young lady there.
Good afternoon.
Umpire, me giving Rowley and I'm no play right now. Them not issue with the man. That's with the storing up. We don't vote them only bread and politically. But this thing with Venezuela, United States of America, right? Yeah, man?
Yeah, listen to you.
Yeah, with the allegation, United States of America pulling and saying Venezuela is a narco state and there's drugs and all kind of driven drugs into the country thing. You believe that?
Well,
you know America is a bold-faced, evil, wicked. You know, kind of bold-faced Venezuela, United States of America is do.
If they really want to save lives,
they're looking to go for oil and gas.
Exactly. And
full allegation.
I believe that too, because when Chavez came into office in the 90s, right? He came into office and he sought to do. Not Chavez, it was Chavez, right? No, not Chavez, Maduro. Yeah. No, Chavez. It's Maduro is the man in charge now.
Right now, yeah.
Right, so when
Chavez he's in charge right now.
Before he died, in the 90s, he would have, you know, proposed a kind of socialist policy for Venezuela, similar to what this guy the guy who America eventually killed. What was his name again?
Gaddafi.
Similar to Gaddafi, right?
Gaddafi. Yeah.
And that was his claim to fame. He would have he increased, made schooling, education and thing free, like similar to what we have in Trinidad. A lot more people was able to do things that they could not have done, right? Because the country had big oil giants, American oil giants like Exxon and Shell and all of them there. And in the same
America see when that country developing that oil and gas and this and that. They look at the full allegation and say, look at the bomb the country and go in Venezuela to oil and gas. So I watching that United States of America, you know.
Yeah. And that is
even that's what
they do. If you care about people and things so much, go down Gaza, go and protect them people in Gaza, Lebanon and them kind of places against evil
real
Israel.
Injustices that's happening.
Correct. So, you know, it's just sad. It's just sad what you see happening. I don't want to sound like a socialist. I don't want to sound like a communist. But really and truly, these people, they don't cause no war and thing. Who is the people? The country that making all the noise all the time about everything is the country that have all the history, all the wars, and they have a finger in all the wars that ever take place. All the time about everything is the country that have all the history, all the wars, and they have a finger in all the wars that ever take place. Ronaldo.
It's sad to see that people see accountability for government spending as political bacchanal. And with the whole Brian issue, it's unfortunate on all sides, even on Sir Brian himself. Because I tell you this, once we start to scrutinize and follow how money and decisions are being allocated and contracts, especially with a state entity, it may seem political one or the other. But if you did, and we're saying if, from what we read, pick up your phone and call somebody and complain, like a minister, and he begins to treat with the matter, you should not then seek to extricate yourself out of the consequences of the conversation.
No, it was the real issue though. From what I read, I just talking about from what I read, apparently Brian Lara had probably, I don't know if it's an endorsement contract with B-Mobile or whatever. And it ended sometime in 2022, right? He would have brought to the attention, I don't know, I'm just thinking, reading, that is just of what I got from the article. He would have probably brought that to the attention of this government. But Rowley would have indicated to the media or wherever that through UNC's course youth policies, it have affected a cricketing legend like Brian Lara. And to me, he haven't said anything there that to tell Trinidad and Tobago what exactly he's talking about. Because when you look at when you go back and you look at the facts before us, that contract ended in 2022.
Well, the chronology of events, right, suggests that it was the former Prime Minister's article that was published first.
Oh, okay.
So his ranting seemed to come out first on his Facebook page. Apparently, Brian read it and sought to clarify it with the minister in reaching out to the minister and giving him certain facts, you know. But Brian did not go public with it. He maybe called the minister and they had a different chat. Now the minister is a government minister. He's a political figure. So he sought to respond as he would, you know he would, especially knowing the individual, he would, to Dr. Rowley's comments and rantings. Now, they having their clarification and their spat, and apparently I was reading where Brian has said, you know, leave him out of politics. And it's unfortunate that you see it that way, because you called the minister in the first place, according to the publishings. Apparently you didn't like what was said, or you were clarifying a point. And if you know Minister Padarat, he will clear it up. He ain't holding cage for nobody.
Right,
he's not someone to.
So if you were to drop the hammer, where you would drop the hammer as to who might be culpable and mischief in this whole thing?
Well, for me, I do not like. I don't like the stance when, you know, when some people somehow, let me say this very carefully, trying to save seat. So they cannot call a matter right or wrong because don't say I say, oh, I don't want to get involved in politics. But when it comes to the allocation of resources, especially state resources, we all involved in politics, you know.
Yeah, I say that all the time.
And government is the allocation of scarce resources in people and financial and other services. So if we want to get things clarified and improved in Trinidad and Tobago, we have to get involved in the politics, and that is the truth of it. Now, that is not the same as saying partisan politics or party politics, but we have to get involved. You could be a soca star, you could be a sports star. If you want better for sports in the country, and a particular government makes a decision in which you are aggrieved by, or it's for you, it's anti-sport, you will be labeled anti-government, but so be it. And the opposite is true. If the prevailing government makes a policy that is in favor of sports, they will tell you, you pro-government. But that is it. If you stand on principle, you shouldn't really care. So it's not bacchanal. I don't like the fact that it's bacchanal and who make it bacchanal. It's not bacchanal. This is TFCT.
But Ronaldo, would you agree with me that should not have even been an issue?
Well, yes.
Until
I agree with you totally.
Because unless we know what Dr. Rowley was talking about when he talk about Scorchy Earth and UNC? Because he didn't indicate anything. He didn't indicate, but he gave a hint that it affected Brian Lara.
No, but he did. Apparently, he did mention Brian's name in his discourse. He did not make. It was not symbolic. He did say how they affected Brian Lara, and that is why they got the reply.
Right.
He did use Brian's name. You know,
But Brian Lara didn't come out and say anything either outside of the fact that the contract ended in 2022.
No, but remember, that's what I'm saying to you. Apparently, Brian called the minister. Apparently, allegedly, from the information. So he didn't say anything publicly. The minister, however, you know the minister, he puts everything there. So he put everything in the public domain. This is what I know, this is what I was told, etc. Now, maybe Brian did not want that type of publicity.
It seems that
way. Because, he's not normally that type of person. But I go back to the point is that when you're standing on principle, when you are a protagonist for an issue, an advocate for an issue, the chips have to fall where they may at the end of the day. Because you can't be, and we must stop that type of behavior. I ain't want to say, don't tell, you know, people who call you to tell you something and say, don't say, I say?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know why they do that? You know why they do that? Especially in the workplace. They always, you know, calling you to tell you something, but don't say, I say.
Don't call me.
So then we have an allegation against a worker, and nobody really want to give evidence.
Yeah.
But everybody want to complain.
And even the person who you told don't say, I say, can't say nothing. Because if you say something, you might be on your own.
Some trouble, yeah.
Correct.
Something happened.
Correct. So I agree with you. I don't know how this is a national issue in that respect. I mean, I understand the whole contracting, and those are facts that is 5 minutes to discuss. But we must begin to make a stand for things. Otherwise, we're going to find, even with this government, and as you say, people may find that you are leaning to one side simply because you agree. But you also have to understand that is part of the course, because there are things that they have done or they say that you don't agree with, and we say that on the program all the time.
Yeah.
We say that as well. We don't agree with it. So we always see things black and white, pro and against, and for and against, with them versus us. We're very divisive in our thinking, and that is very penal thinking, that we can't see arguments and discussions as either in support of the issue or against the issue, but not in support of the person. You know, we're very immature to me.
Well, I'm a person known to be, you know, say it as I see it. So sometimes I might listen to you and I might say, listen, you're just talking crap, right? But that's me, that's my opinion, you know? So so sometimes I come out as that. You might find me you might say that that I might be biased, but if you listen to me in another place, you would hear me say the other side talking crap too, in the same way. I don't mince to say how I see it. You know that?
We encourage all members of the pavilion and the Third Empire to call in, and you don't have to agree with us. This is not that type of program, because the umpires have a particular purview on the field. You in the pavilion, you might have seen differently. You see the ball didn't touch the wicket. We use the camera, we play back, and we say, well, this is what happened. But we don't necessarily have to agree. And for us, disagreement is divisive. It means that who don't like who, you don't like me, and you know, we go through that 12-year-old lollipop kind of discussion.
But Ronaldo, as an umpire, right? I want to ask you something. How you think the feeling side feeling good, boy?
Well, I think given, no, we remember this is not T20, it's Test cricket we play, right? And you talking about the feeling or the batting side?
I'm talking about the feeling side.
The bowling side or the batting?
The batting side to me, like it's looking to me like the points and runs on the board.
Right.
Right? Now, some of the runs they're making controversial, but the point runs on the board, in my opinion.
Yeah. The bowling side seems to be doing everything they did last time to win. I am not sure that that's a scientific approach, because they lost. So I am not seeing, from what I have heard so far, anything new, and that is the disappointment. I have a lot of questions for the bowling side. I said this morning in a private chat, I said that you actually, more and more, every day you get to see who the real leader of opposition is. Because I don't understand. I don't understand some of they promised new politics. We said that there are 2 female captains, and we thought that this was a good thing for the country, with new politics and a new view and a new attitude. But we keep seeing some of the old tricks, you know, when you're in the field, who tampering with the ball, you know, who hiding the ball, who running across the field, old tricks in cricket.
And
people creating up the pitch.
That's correct.
And Ronaldo, you know, if as you see, their tactic is maybe using the same tactic they used before when they won in 2015. Clearly the reason why they lost 10 years after, or they lost after putting, you know, the runs they put on the board, might be because those runs couldn't hold up. Nobody, we didn't see nobody go in jail. We didn't see no significant groundbreaking evidence. You had email gate, you had all kind of gate that fell through. You didn't see nothing, no groundbreaking thing. But on the other hand, you saw things that they did that were highly questionable and resembled and resembled some of the things they accused the other side of doing.
Correct. And what is even more disappointing, Mr. Matheson, as I've been watching and listening, is the rhetoric of the new people. You see, the new people have looked at MP DV Hans, and I've looked at MP Marcel, and they seem to just be towing the line.
They're just talking the same old rhetoric.
Yeah, and if that is what joining a political party and representing people are about, that I have to parrot, I have to be a parrot, and just they're going to use me to die on a hill, as we say, then that can't be right. You have to work out how to do the best and represent your community, especially in opposition. You know, it's harder when you're in opposition. Far less to parrot the things of people who actually are much more wealthier than you, and let me put that out, and may have their own agenda. You, of all people, know Mr. Matheson, the PNM is an institution of great history and dynamism.
And deep pockets.
If you come in, and deep pockets, you come up there, you could be swallowed up, you could be used to fight all kind of war, and then they tell you, all right, well, that was it, that looked good.
And die on the hill, and so you was never anything. The thing is, what is sad is that, you know, sometimes, and we always talk about the phenomena of groupthink. We feel that we have to see anything the leader or the party think it is, you have to follow that. You have to say some things that sound more egregious or something that sound more stupid than what you heard before. Right? To prove a point. And why, people going past that in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes. Correct. And while we understand collective responsibility, so you're part of a party, right? And the party will take a particular view. I do not agree with the view. And I'm not supposed to go outside and just mouth out my view. I agree. I'm to keep my opinion to myself. At the same time, nobody going to use me to mouthpiece and parrot any stupidness.
Ronaldo, stay on the line. Let's introduce another caller. Stay on the line. Good evening, caller.
Good evening. Hello?
You need to turn off your radio so you with me hearing us double.
Okay, hello?
Yeah, I'm hearing you good now.
Yeah, in a democracy, everyone is entitled to their views and their opinion.
Yes, they are.
The PNM party, and I call the names, I don't hold back on them. The PNM party wants to remain the same old. And the present government is charged with the responsibility of taking the country out of the hole that we find ourselves in. And we have to find new ways and means of doing things. The population may not always agree with whatever they decide, but we have to look at whether or not it's in the best interest of the country as a whole. with this CPEP issue here, I want to find out if there's an injunction in the court that prevents the CPEP company from hiring contractors while these matters are before the court. At the same time, the people who championed the CPEP issue, the former Prime Minister had said, wean yourself off the government. So it is a hard fight for them now to hear and support wean yourself off the government. And now want to fight for these very same people now who actually wean themselves off the government by now becoming self-employed. Because a lot of these CPEP workers I know are doing small contractors as what they call landscapers and clean up for themselves. It is approaching 2 months now, so which means most of them would have found something or something. It may not be gainful employment, but something to carry them on. While they wait for whatever benefit the government might be offering, that is still in waiting. So that's as far as the CPEP issue is concerned. And Federalians, in my view, depend on government too heavily for employment. The private sector employs more than 500,000 people. And people are innovative and creative. And they can do many things that can help themselves. So I will leave that to rest for others to comment on that. The other issue is this matter with Venezuela and the oil. Everybody knows this thing in Venezuela is not about this narcotics business. It will help us one thing. It is about the oil that sits there, and Maduro and his regime is actually a block in the part of this thing happening where the world will benefit from that oil that they have, that oil and gas. Let us be real. Now, if it is that they're moving, and I don't want to know they kill Maduro. Let us assume that they move Maduro from there and the regime. There is a strong probability that the dragon may begin to dance present government and for Trinidad and Tobago. Will we benefit from that or not? When they move the narco people out of the way, will we also benefit in terms of having less crime in the country? And we need to look at things from the positive side of it, while we have to deal with negatives that may affect us. Since you had alluded just now that we only about 6 miles away, our stray bomb could wipe Trinidad off the map if there's a war. So the strategies that will be used by America, we don't know. We have to wait and see. It's a similar thing to when the government will have no parade for independence. Should we wait for when all MD and 2 drones drop to bomb and then decide they should have not have the parade? So we need to look at things now from that particular point of view that is also constructive. And take everybody's views on board, take the positive and the negative, and look at how Trinidad will move forward and benefit. I will leave Ola to comment after that.
Thank you, caller.
Have a good evening.
Yeah, and the caller is right. I agree with this. I agree with the caller 100%.
Now, let me just take something in while you're talking with Ronaldo. I'm now seeing an update here. They are saying that the governments of Mexico, Colombia, and Cuba firmly rejects the U.S. decision to deploy military assets in waters near Venezuela. They are saying that they are looking at this move, or they're viewing it as destabilizing and dangerous.
Yeah,
that's basically what he's saying.
That's what Venezuela, America do all the time. But I mean,
as the seat
we know
of
America
the
is
UN,
a bully. Everybody know that. I mean, what America and the hegemonic attitudes and ways. I mean, people seeing through it.
Yeah.
Everybody seeing it. I mean, it's the same thing like in Trinidad. People have come of age, and they are seeing everything. Right? They are seeing everything. It's not difficult to see what's going on.
This is
Ronaldo?
Yes, I'm here. I'm listening. I'm locked and listening into the geopolitical discussion with Venezuela and all these international relations and love-hate relationships we have with America. The fact is the people who we hate and the people who you've signaled on are the people we depend on the most for even our own protection. So that brings in the question of sovereignty. How sovereignty are you when you can't govern and feed your people? You can't even defend your people.
Correct.
How sovereign are you if you can't defend yourself?
Exactly.
Correct.
So we talk a lot in Trinidad and in the Caribbean, and we denounce a lot of things.
I don't know if to call it a conundrum or to call it a dilemma, but the thing is, I mean, we are still a free democratic country, but we are not really independent according to Ronaldo, because almost everything we depend on America for, right? Including
Well, you see what happens
security.
when we take away a parade. You take away this parade, lollipop, and everybody start to cry because we can't see ourselves beyond it. We can't see ourselves apart from it. Oh God, how much years now we doing it? Since Eric was a little boy, we doing this. And you hear the arguments, and I'm not despising any of the affinities and the sense of, but if that is the tantamount of your national pride and sense of independence, well, yes. And when you examine it, I mean, what do we have? Well, there must be another way if we are to do it, or there can be another way, or so we talk a lot of things in terms of geopolitics and Trinidad and what we are and who we are, but in terms of international relations and power, we are a dot at the end of that. The Caribbean, we are a dot, and a dot has its place in geopolitical power and economic might. You have your place. You have to know your place. You have to fall in line.
Well, Donald Trump did mention this dot when he was comparing the crime that is taking place in Washington, D.C.,
correct,
for which he would have had to call out the National Guards at some point in time, and Trinidad. So I mean, this dot still has some significance.
Well, that's a negative reference. And I think it was Mr. Vance. It was J.D. Vance.
J.D. Vance, sorry, J.D. Vance.
Yeah, it is. But we have, it just shows you that we have to figure out things ourselves, and we have to chart our own course and stop relying on these things. And you and I talk about when elephant fighting. What is your position? And this is an elephant fight because, make no mistake, Venezuela is not without ideological support. Remember the plane that landed there sometime when this happened already, faster than the speed of light.
Yes.
And Russia decided to test things in the Caribbean. So we have to watch, as you say, and be careful and see how we affected. But we also have to know our place and our position. We fight in all kind of war. We can't fight all the fighting. We fight in visa.
Correct.
We fight in this. We fight in that. We have to sometimes choose our battles. Good. And if that is our biggest...
in times like these, we may have to stay neutral, because neutrality sometimes buys us some time.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is our biggest trading partner. I remember once, and I will come off and get some callers a chance if I'm blocking any caller. I remember once going to a conference of a chamber, American chamber here, and I went to the conference, and in the conference, one of the highest ranking naval officers for the American Navy for this hemisphere spoke at the conference. And she was a lady. She was referring to a statement made by the then Prime Minister, which is the last Prime Minister, about America, and obviously making some disparaging remarks. You know how we just beat with chest sometimes. And you know what she said? She said, America is a friend of Trinidad, and this is not how you treat your friend. She came to that conference, and that conference was businessmen, It wasn't politics. And she began to enumerate the amount of aid and other things we benefit from. She also began to talk about the coup. She said that when they all had the coup, we were the first responders. She did reveal that when you all had the coup, we landed people here. We had troops here. We had personnel on the ground helping. This is not how you treat your friends. Watch your mouth. And I was shocked.
Wow.
And I'm paraphrasing what she was saying. Watch your mouth. This is not how you treat your friend. We have heard the U.S. government, and they didn't send a diplomat. They sent a naval officer.
Wow.
of high rank. We heard the comments, and we hear. So that's, you see, people follow geopolitics. We mightn't follow it, but internationally people follow what is going on.
Yes.
Exactly.
And I found it strange. I'm saying, why is this person in a military uniform in a business meeting?
Yeah.
With business people.
Clearly there was a message to deliver.
Yeah.
Right?
Right? Clearly there was a message to deliver. we hear you, and that is not how you treat your friends.
It hasn't really changed, but you know, you and I, we talk all the time, and we always ask the question: are we really independent?
Yeah.
And that there goes it. We really not independent.
So
I
that
mean,
answers the question.
so it means that what our politicians say from time to time, it resonates to them, and it also could also affect us.
Yeah, because you could say at 75 or 70-something year olds of age, you could say, let them keep their visa. I don't need to go there, and I don't do it. Because some of us have children there. Some of us have relatives there. Some of us study there. Some of us have family there. Some of us access there for serious health care.
Yes.
You see what happened when they came the other day by Napa?
Yeah.
You saw what happened.
Yes.
People trample on each other to go and get health care.
Yeah.
Correct.
But the thing is, all that is a product of us not doing, because we had to some, even if it was just a small percentage of what we should have been getting over the years, and our heritage, our resources, our natural resources coming out of the ground. We had ample opportunity, and still to some extent, to diversify or to put our eggs in different baskets, or to look elsewhere and develop trading arrangement and you know, trading alliance and you know, that kind of thing with other places. Albeit, you know, the America and the Monroe Doctrine to a large extent would have in some way probably roped us in and have us feeling a certain kind of security, when in truth and in fact, that is not what anybody who looking in and who have experienced what has happened. You go against America in deep
problems.
Pooh.
So now it means that we are sitting at the crossroads here in Trinidad of looking at these U.S. sanctions and all of these things, because they're handing out sanctions like rain.
I wouldn't even call it crossroads. We just had to sit down and watch.
But that's it.
The audience.
So in between that and then looking at our financial security, because there was an opportunity there to collaborate with Venezuela to get oil.
Well,
but now
I mean,
we in the midst of this thing where you kind of had to humble yourself and figure out which direction we're going. Because even apart from that,
when you're eating out of the plate of a hegemon like America, you have to be very circumspect.
That's correct.
Who you align with and who you talk to, and you know, that kind of thing.
And you can't appear as though you are favoring one over the other
about certain things, but
we have to be careful in terms of our response. And then what about even the humanitarian perspective? If something like that happens, Venezuela is our neighbor, you know, so that there's that perspective where people may say, well, you know, if there's a mass casualty, something of that nature, we have Venezuelans here in Trinidad and Tobago.
Maduro say mobilizing 4,000 militia, you know. He said he mobilizing 4,000 militia
have
to
Venezuelans here in Trinidad and Tobago.
His land.
Well, politicians say the strangest of things, but see, even this relationship is exemplified in no greater scenario than the relationship between America and Israel. Correct. Because do what they want and do what they want to do, America does not, at least especially openly, bite the hand that feed them. Because when you talk about their own economic power, their banking system, and their military technology, America understands where it comes from. So, you know, people, it is not that the atrocities committed by Israel are not plain and why they didn't do something. They know why they're not pressing certain buttons. You will hear now and again maneuvers, and he will say he disagree, and he will call the Israeli prime minister, and they will quarrel, you know, a lot of shenanigans. But
that's just window dressing. You know, that's just window dressing. Yeah. Like all the fool the Iranian government into thinking they were still negotiating, when in truth and in fact they were planning to destroy them.
Correct. Correct. And that's the game and the dance you play with geopolitics.
Yeah.
It's a dance. It's not a straight line. But we have to be careful. We really not on the dancing floor. According to you, we have to sit down and watch people dance.
We in the audience. We just watching.
And stay less. Yeah, we have to stay less.
And in some cases, we had to stay quiet.
Yep.
Just
don't say anything.
Enjoy the music. Yeah, because we are, until we are able to do a lot of things of ourselves. America has exposed, and they've spoken about that openly. And the lady did that, and now remembering words from the conference. She said, your military benefits largely from aid, from us in training and in other exercises. We come, and it is true, you see the ships pull up and they're doing everything, so do not badmouth your friends.
I think those here on an exercise somewhere down Tucker Valley side just before elections or just around elections.
Correct. And in the position we are, we cannot discount the importance of those things. Those relationships and industrial relations to you and the HR experts somewhere, but understand the value of relationships and sometimes what you have to do to protect them. You have to do certain things, and people will judge you and will wonder why you didn't do this, and we like action, but this is above that. So there's a little posturing going on. We are looking to survive and feed our people. Let's be slow to speak. Very slow to speak.
Gotcha.
We will have we entitled to our own opinion, and but we all boast of this. I heard that in the last thing when America had the visa. We are a sovereign nation, and sovereign. We like this word sovereign until there's a disaster. And we have to send for help. Because you can't find your people, you can't feed your people, you can't protect your people. What you have done is taken all your money and spend it.
Which is why a few weeks ago or a few days ago on the show, we have been asking, are we really independent? So all that noise we're making about an independent parade with them toy truck and toy soldiers and things we have, they're not understanding what is real independence. We're not independent. Nothing about what we do and how we function and what we produce in any way indicates that we are independent.
For me, a good question to ask is, if something like this were really to take place, just wondering how our military will respond.
What military? We have any military here?
Just say it. Just say it, because we really have a nice life. We don't really know wars like that.
Just a happy-go-lucky people.
We really don't know wars.
You want to be on the avenue, you want to lime,
it just begs a question for me.
Nonsense and drink. And,
how prepared our military is to respond should we end up in a situation like this?
Them going and hide, but them changing the clothes. Them I want nobody to know there's any regiment.
But just a good observation.
They're going to behave like the Ukrainians.
We had a whole attempted coup here, and we still can't figure it out. Up to now, we don't know what happened. Years after, we don't know the truth about what happened. Imagine that. It happened right here.
Policemen change the clothes, and I want nobody to know there's police.
Wow, that's disappointing.
Wow. You were too young to remember
I was not born Stephen Matheson.
I was too young to know that.
Robertina.
Police change your clothes and went and hide.
That is really ridiculous. Wow.
When you're young, your parents tell you stay out of big people conversation, and who talking to you? Your parents talking, or your auntie and your uncle, and you put in your mouth and your opinion, and your mother tell you, no, this is an adult conversation. We need to know when adult conversations going on in geopolitics. We need to know.
Exactly.
Very well said, Ronaldo.
Watch, man. We just watch. Don't say nothing.
Yeah. We not prepared.
No,
we can't be that.
To the callers, to the listeners. This is not to us. This is to the politicians. This is you free to say what you want. I mean, you say it as it.
But as a nation, we aren't prepared to have that discussion.
I usually say it as I see it. I mean, I see no going on. I mean, it's not hard to deduce from what you see in Ukraine and Russia that Ukraine is a proxy. The same thing with Taiwan. Taiwan might be the next proxy.
Yeah.
So it's not hard.
Hmm.
Venezuela is a country. I mean, Venezuela might be a partner to Russia and China and these places, and that is what makes it even more dangerous for us. Because look at where we are in proximity to Venezuela. Anything happen, any nuclear, anything happen, we are an appendage.
And I am a student of international relations. I remember that was really my first course of study. And
You have studied
nothing
that in
more
Barbados.
in Jamaica.
Sorry, Jamaica.
In Mona. Nothing embellishes this more than our love-hate relationship with Haiti. Because up to now, Haiti has not been made a full member of CARICOM. And we know why. Because making Haiti a full member, you have to accept all the sanctions that come with Haiti and Cuba. They have observer status and all these type of status. So when we talk about sovereign and we could do what we want as a Caribbean and CARICOM, that's a lot of talk. That's a lot of talk. Haiti is a hot potato, and we can sing about Haiti in our song, but that is as much as Haiti could get. You know, we will send some troops if there's a disaster, and we have helped. Good. But we're very, very tentative with this whole relationship about, you know, people joining organizations because of geopolitics. Cuba and Haiti carry serious economic sanctions. And sanction is the economic weapon of the powerful. And that's what, I mean, that's what Mr. Trump has to do with Russia.
At least for the next 20 years, it might mean something, but that is slowly eroding now with BRICS and countries now finding ways to trade among themselves without using the US dollar. That is slowly
I know what to tell you that. Russia has said, the more you sanction us, is the more gas pipes we will turn off.
Exactly. And the more you sanction us...
When Europe gets cold and freezing, the European countries will feel the effects of that. And that is a serious consideration if you've never traveled before. That coolness and that weather is a serious issue.
Do you have gas around that time and see what happened to you now?
There is no idle threat. So, in we little pitch lake and we little football and CPL, let me kind of chug easy and figure out we have enough issues of our own that to try to part elephants. We have enough issues of our own to try and part elephants and who's sending troops and military this and military that. Because, I mean, Venezuela, we look at them slightly, but they are armed. They're not as armed.
Venezuela has a military. We don't. What we have is a regiment.
Correct.
Venezuela have tanks.
The day of prayer just might be needed, right?
We don't have that.
The day of prayer just might be needed because...
Yeah, and they're not without allies.
And
very powerful allies.
They have China, they have Russia. And that's one of the fearful things, because we know, I mean, if for those who would have students of history and understood what happened in the Cuban Missile Crisis, what the Cuban Missile Crisis in itself was about, right, is something not different from what is happening with Russia and Ukraine, because Russia not fight. Ukraine is like a little brother of Russia, you know. Russia not fighting with Ukraine because they're not really fighting with. It's not Ukraine Russia fighting with. Russia is fighting for its own sovereignty to protect itself from encroachment by NATO and America, right? And that's why they're fighting. They're fighting to create a demarcation line so that Russia, NATO and America wouldn't come too close to them. Now we could talk about that because we've seen it. And how it affects us, yes, it will affect us in Trinidad and Tobago in a number of ways, right? The sea corridors, the amount of oil that is turned off, and the price of oil and that kind of, so it might affect us in a positive way in some ways, but it will also affect us in negative ways with respect to gas and all that kind of thing. So all those things we have to also think about too, and we have to, you know, be able to analyze how it's going to affect us, when it's going to affect us, and what do we do to mitigate the effects of it. Not that we could do much, Ronaldo?
Yeah, correct. Correct. We do have to be very careful and make our talk. I seen your time you may be coming up to a break. We have to be very circumspect. You know, we like to talk here and we like to beat our chest. You swear Trinidad somewhere. You know, we have to be very, very, very careful. We don't need that and we don't need this. We talk that. We don't need to go here. We don't talk for yourself. We don't need to do this. We don't need to do that. A very, very haughty approach when trade is very complicated.
Unless of course, we wake up and I say I'm waiting patiently to see what the national budget this time around will say for things like agriculture and development in those kind of things, because one of the things that defines whether a country is a real country or not, its ability to feed itself. And even if you can't feed yourself with everything, because you have something that you could comparatively trade with somebody else to be able to say that you are a major partner in the whole cog. Hello?
Yeah. Yes, you're right. I'm following it. So I don't know if you're going to a break now, but I'll follow and call back after.
Yeah. Alright, so we will be going for a break shortly, ladies and gentlemen, and things. So we unpack a lot in terms of the geopolitics, in terms of the local politics also, and when we come back, ladies and gentlemen, I think we will deal with some HR issues.
All right.
So I want to talk a little bit about compensation, and we talk a lot about compensation with the prospects of better compensation with the steeper workers, but compensation and engagement in the workplace in particular is very, very important if we're looking to improve productivity. So we go for a break now to pay some bills. When we come back, we'll talk with you.
You've got bills to pay, and so do we. Let's go pay some bills on the street 919 FM.
Attention business owners. Are you looking to reach a vast audience and boost your brand's visibility? Then look no further. The Street 919 FM is here to help you shine. With over 170,000 followers on our social media platforms, our radio station is the perfect platform to showcase your products and services. Join us and let your message be heard by thousands of eager listeners. Contact us now to learn more about our affordable advertising packages. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to connect with your target audience. Advertise with the Street 919 FM today. For more information, call 399-5959 or 384-2232.
Are you tired of scratching the surface? Do you want to understand the real forces shaping Trinidad and Tobago? From the delicate dance of our energy sector on the global stage, to the geopolitical shadows behind the crime affecting our streets, we dig deeper. The third umpire goes beyond the headlines. We connect the dots between local challenges and the international currents that truly impact your life, your wallet, your security. Join Stephen Matheson, Selvin Mitchell, and Ronaldo Rollux, 3 employment law and human resource management consulting professionals, as they unpack the complexities, analyze the power plays, and reveal the often hidden realities. Understand the game. Understand your role in it. The third umpire, critically analyzing Trinidad and Tobago's economic and political realities on how they affect your daily lives. Tune in Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. on the Street 919 FM. Don't just listen to the news. Understand it.
The Trinidad and Tobago Council of Evangelical Churches, together with national cultural icon Mr. William Monroe, presents the first ever national concert of choirs, Divine Harmonies, Saturday, December 6, 2025, at the Grandstand, Queen's Park, Savannah. Choirs will be competing for prize money to the tune of $250,000, with the winner walking away with the grand prize of $100,000. We invite all church church choirs nationwide to participate in the spiritual, cultural, and musical richness that will bring upliftment to our nation and redound to the glory of God. Tickets will be available August 15th from Maranatha Bookstore and outlets of the Trinidad and Tobago Council of Evangelical Churches. For more information, call 719-9599 or 497-0361. Divine Harmonies, ushering in the glory of God. This is Apostle Anthony Golson, and I'm inviting you to be there.
The island is buzzing with news of big savings at Sharon's Bookstore, as our back-to-school sale is now happening at all 3 of our locations. We have great deals on everything you need, from school books, sneakers, backpacks, uniforms, stationery, and accessories to so much more. Whether your little one is starting kindergarten, heading to primary, secondary, or private school, or even taking theory, we've got you covered here at Sharon's. So why wait? Come on down and let us help you get ready for school. Our friendly team is waiting for you now at our locations on the Eastern Main Road in San Juan, the Eastern Main Road in Tunapuna, and on levels 1 and 2 of Trincity Mall in Trincity. Sharon's Bookstore is proud to be your local one. Stop shop for all things back to school, helping you with style, savings, and everything school-related all under one roof. Light up your weekends at Vibes Nightclub, Tobago's hottest spot. 3 epic nights of music and energy await every Thursday. Karaoke Thursdays. Kick off at 8 p.m. with free entry. Grab the mic, unleash your inner star, and sing all night. Beers on special for $10, 2 Campari for $25, and giveaways for the best singers. Every Friday, Limers Fridays. Kick off at 8 p.m. with free entry. Vibes with your crew and enjoy beers on special for $10, 2 Campari for $25, and 2 White Oak for $25. Every Saturday, Raw Saturdays. Everything goes, nothing but good vibes. Free entry and an all-star DJ cast to bring the vibes. Vibes Nightclub is where Tobago shines. Join us Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for music, fun, and unforgettable nights. Don't miss out. Your weekend starts at Vibes.
This Java, get ready to chase the crunch with KFC. Dip it, dunk it, and trip it with our juiciest chicken tenders ever for as low as $29.95.
It's Java, it's summertime. KFC makes it all come alive. Big limestone into big appetite. Hit the beach with KFC. Yeah.
Choose our hot and spicy or extra crispy non-spicy tenders and dip, dunk, and drip into our flavorful sauces, Java style.
To the spice of the summer, let's go.
So, chase the crunch and make Java finger-licking good with KFC.
Coach, yes coach, are you passionate about serving others and supporting people as they reach the highest version of themselves? My name is Jesse McBarrow and I've been able to earn a living as a life coach serving people all around the world, and so can you. Are you ready to be internationally certified? Enroll today for this program and learn everything that you need to know about being a professional life coach. Listen, there are payment plans available as well too, so see you in class.
For registration, contact the Institute of Health and Fitness at 336-4935.
The Gap Man Limited specializes in products that cater to all your health needs. The Male Enhancement Package targets the areas of the body that contribute to erectile dysfunction. The Male Enhancement costs $1,400. The Gap pills are priced at 250 pills for $500 and 500 pills for just $900. For the best in eye care, get the super combination of a Super Bright and the Body Healer. To improve the heart's function and circulation, get the Gap pills and Formula C. To get a total body cleanse daily, use the Gap Body Healer and Big C, all for a super low price of $1,300. To order your products from the Gap Man Limited, call 628-4531 for products that cater to all your health needs.
For more info, contact 476-7268.
Planning your Tobago getaway?
Choose the highest Google-rated car rental company on the island, O'Neill Auto Rentals Tobago. Located just minutes from the A&R Robinson International Airport, at O'Neill, we pride ourselves on being the most tech-savvy car rental company in Tobago. Our process is 100% digital. No paperwork, no long lines. From easy pickup to seamless returns, renting a car in Tobago has never been simpler. WhatsApp us now at 1-868-361-1042 to book your vehicle. Don't forget to mention promo code RADIO2 to receive a 5% discount on your rental. Send a WhatsApp message to 1-868-361-1042 today. That's 1-868-361-1042. O'Neill Auto Rentals Tobago, the easiest, most reliable car rental experience on the island.
Vehicle availability is subject to change. Driver must be at least 25 years old and have a valid driver's license to book. For more information, visit www.rentalcartobago.com.
Hi there, I'm Lester Sublal, inviting you to join me on the first, second, and third Saturday, 8:30 p.m. to 11 p.m. for the program Slow Gospel Music, and on the fourth and fifth Saturday from 8:30 p.m. for an extended version of Slow Gospel Music on Street 91.9 FM.
So line up, link up, creep up, rock and come in. It's all about the fastest growing reggae show in the land without a doubt. Reggae Rock Sundays on the Shit 919 FM with yours truly, MC Duke and Selector Kochi on the ones and twos. So make it a date and don't be late. 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. right here on the Shit 919 FM. Got 'em our way, King Selassie.
Share the live. Share the live. The Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram. Share the live. Iowa George on Instagram. Share the live. Iowa TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
Yes, callers and listeners, we are back. And I know you would have been listening to the discourse. Many of you didn't get an opportunity to call in and chime in. And we certainly would like to give you the opportunity to call in and have that discussion with us now. Good evening, caller.
Good evening, caller.
Caller?
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
To the officiating umpire behind the stumps there, and our female umpire standing at square leg.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Great topic. Great program. Well, I just want to make a short comment firstly about the activities of the hegemonic power man, which is the United States of America, and that the apprentice and all there's an armada, another old Christopher Columbus Spanish armada. The destroyers heading to the naval destroyers heading to the borders of Venezuela, or surrounding Venezuela, as they say.
Claiming that they are fighting narco traffickers. I don't know how destroyers will do that.
Yeah. Well, let's see. That is only what they call semantics, because we know. Remember, there's a bounty. Maduro bounty has now risen to 50 million US. As a wanted narco agent.
Yeah, nonsense. Right? That is the same thing they did Gaddafi.
Of course, but one of the issues I was watching, only last week I was hearing a news report that in Grenada, because of the presence of Cuban nurses, the American government denied 3 serving government ministers. They blanked them passports, right? And then when Ralph Gonzalez and Miss Motlin in Barbados were asked the question, all they said was, if they do get passports, they do travel to America. But how could you be a prime minister and not traveling to America when you have international organizations like the OAS, the UN, and these international bodies there, right? And on top of that, what would be the position if Maduro should go down with Petrocarib, remember the islands or the OECS countries, they bypass certain liquids like the LPG gas and thing from Trinidad and thing, and they went with since in Chavez days for cheap LPG.
Yeah.
And up to date, that program is still on. So we just keep watching at the whole hegemonic power, whether we like it or not. Mr. Donald Trump has, who didn't know what hegemonic power is now.
Well, as our fellow umpire just indicated there, and you know, he's so correct. At this time, because we depend so heavily on everything with America, trying to go in another direction will look like we trying to bite the hand that feeds us, because clearly and truly we are not independent, and it is easy for America or for that hegemonic power to continue with their doctrine in terms of how they bully nations like these when you protest or when you seem to be not supporting them in certain things. But it is also sad that what they do and your quietness, how the kind of relations or the kind of relationships you destroy as you know, as people in one small area, that if we come together and probably try to operate as independent nations, you know, what could happen?
Well, unfortunately, the whole operates by blocks. And in the Western world, and in the world in general, you know, America has what they call the political overreach, what they call the imperial overreach over this hemisphere and other parts of the world, the greater part of the world. So what you have to do is simply you have to toe the line, otherwise you'll find yourself in difficulty.
Exactly.
And that goes back to the point where the Canadian government ministers would deny passports to travel because of the presence of these Cuban doctors and nurses. Now here, I remember seeing a lot of Cuban doctors and nurses when I was working in San Fernando. Well, I see them walking the streets and going to the bank and all this kind of thing. I do not know if their presence is still here. But some months ago, the American government was warning Caribbean countries to dispense of these Cuban nurses and doctors. Right? So that is what the world is. And remember, Russia is no longer the USSR again, United Soviet Republic, right? Russia is more or less a country on its own now, right? All Czechoslovakia and all these other places, remember, they've gone back to their original status, right? So we have to know that.
And and while China is speaking out and probably trying to be a hegemon themselves, China is a lot more passive than probably you would expect in this part of in this whole global game of you know, hegemonic warfare kind of thing. So China, to a large extent, still depends on the U.S. For its trade.
For markets.
Yeah.
They depend on the U.S. for markets, and that is why they always be kind of shy in terms in terms of the hegemony.
But you know, when you look at what's happening, they too can feel the wrath of the, although they could stand by themselves and probably even defend themselves, but they too, with that Taiwan situation, which to a large extent will end up like Ukraine, because I think China will mash the hell up out of that country, or that little island. What is happening is sad. It's sad because they will end up just like Ukraine, in a war that cannot be solved very easily.
Well, again, it's what they call military might, because Taiwan cannot defend itself against China. You understand? So, for Taiwan to uphold itself or to defend itself, it has to get outside military assistance.
Well, they are already getting it, but the thing is, I think they putting themselves in real hands with now. Taiwan also is of strategic interest to the USA. I mean, with the chips and all that kind of thing. But I think America seems to be playing the hand in ways that could cause some serious world war. And they're doing it in ways that, I mean, some countries like Europe and things just had to sit down and watch, and because Europe is nothing in this whole global chess game.
Yeah, well, unlike the 1914 to 18 First World War and the 39 to 45 Second World War, now there's a United Nations which could kind of quell or restrict a full-scale world war.
No, well, I don't think, I beg to disagree, you know, because, I mean, if you look at the Security Council and how America vetoes everything there, right? Well, the veto power it has. Even when you look at about 2 years, over the last 2 years, and what would have happened with that situation in Israel when countries repeatedly, including South Africa, would have registered its protest through bringing Israel to answer in court, and America, by extension, the U.S., naming the U.S. as a enabling genocide. What would have happened after was that America, through its diplomats on the council, would have vetoed everything, any action that taken even by the Security Council.
Yes, of course. Again, because of their hegemonic power, because no countries wouldn't vote against America. Like if you pay attention to the voting patterns, you rarely find countries voting against America. Again, because of the hegemonic power. And another thing we have to watch at in terms of international financial organizations. Remember, America have majority interest in the World Bank and the IMF, and a lot of third world countries and other countries, developing countries, they need what they call financial assistance to boost their economy in times of trouble.
Well, that may soon be not so important if countries realize what's happening, the alignment with BRICS and the BRICS Bank and all that kind of thing. Just now, very soon, Brazil, I think Brazil, someone from Brazil chairs that bank, is the president of that bank, right? What is happening now is that bank and that alliance is becoming stronger and stronger and stronger, and countries now are seeking to a large extent to align themselves with that. So finance, I think very soon the World Bank and the IMF to a large extent may become obsolete except for countries in the West.
Well, let us wait and see.
Or those who are already dependent on them, because even Africa seems to be moving away. Africa to a large extent is moving with the Chinese and to some extent the Russians, and they have to a large extent enrolled in the Belt and Road Initiative with China. So that to a large extent diminishes the power of the World Bank and the IMF.
Yeah, well, let's see again coming back, because I understand the Panama Canal was controlled by China, and the American government has decided that they will give back the Panama Canal to Panama, right? Because of the stationing of Chinese interests so close in America backyard. So we have to, there's a whole sort of world development we have to watch at, right? But I know for sure that hegemonic power will not be giving up that power like that.
Yeah,
First,
they're giving up that power like that. They ain't giving up that power like that.
They are the most powerful military resources in the world.
They ain't giving
right?
up that power. They ain't giving up that power just like that. And even I was
And that is
listening to Professor Joshima, that professor at Chicago University at Chicago, who was talking about the hegemonic power of China, and China being a world hegemonic power. And he was saying that one of the things with hegemonic power is that they will always try, because you remember China in the past wasn't a military power. They didn't see that as a something that they should pursue in the way they're pursuing it now. So he was saying that all hegemonic power, one of the things that makes them a hegemonic power is a strong military.
Of course.
If only to protect the position.
Yeah.
And so what we're seeing now is China, the marine in China is probably larger than what is America. China in tonnage, in boats and things, not tonnage, but in the size of the amount of vessels and that kind of thing. China has outpassed America in significant ways.
Yeah, in quantity.
Yeah? So I think China is slowly moving there silently, and that is something we have to watch too. That could be the balancing power that brings us back to make America know that, hey, listen, you need to cool yourself. You're not really a hegemonic power again, and you need to be like everybody else, compete like everybody else, and stop trying to bully people with your dollar.
Yeah, and then too, remember we have elections coming up in Guyana, and remember the U.S. ambassador in Guyana said that the American government will not be happy to one of the front-running candidates. I think his name is something Mohammed or something. So, but he a very popular politician in Guyana, and they said they do not wish that man win the presidential elections in Guyana. And then we have Jamaica coming up on the 3rd. That's next month we're talking about it.
Well, in terms of Guyana. In terms of Guyana, America have serious fiduciary interests where Guyana is in relation to Guyana. So I wouldn't be surprised if they have some kind of influence in how the election turn out there, because that's what they do.
Well, that's why the American ambassador there jump out, because they make it clear to the people that they're supporting the incumbent. Yeah. Anyhow, quickly on the compensation. Well, we here know the public service, for example, they have compensation by bands. That means the band is by the posts are compensated by ranges. They have ranges 4. Range 4 is the lowest, and 68 is the highest. Right until when you go to the SRC recommendation under the positions under the purview of the SRC.
Well, you know, as I say that, we were going to talk about compensation, and I like that, how you started the conversation, because to a large extent, nothing that speaks to any major change in productivity will occur in government and among government and government workers. Because to a large extent, I believe as a professional, I believe in pay for performance. And if you look at what happens in America, see, and we like to use America as the barometer, wages is a competitive thing, as opposed to what happens in Trinidad. It's a competitive thing. So they have minimum wage too, but no employer uses minimum wage as anything to hire anybody. Right? Because if you want the best workers, you have to pay for the best workers.
That's right.
So we need to move to that kind of level, and remove ourselves from all that them range and all that kind of nonsense. And if you want the best workers, you develop systems to have the kind of compensation to attract the best people. And then demand through your policies that they get the kind of productivity from them.
Yeah,
but you can't do that if you're paying minimum wage.
That's correct.
Right? So we still have plenty excess labor in the lower level of the strata of the society. So a security company could say, listen, we're paying you XYZ, and if your air work, we just fire you and get somebody else. Because you have plenty people looking for work as a security.
Yeah. And you see, as you talk about security, that's my observation. See, there is a number of females working security, and that is where the family structure is broken down to a point, because most of them are single parents and they have to stay hours and hours away from their homes, and the day come, and some of the children remain unsupervised. Yeah, and that is one of the reasons why we have what they call the lumpen proletariat, which is the criminal element of the proletariat.
Well, right? Again,
so it's all this
the dilemma security companies are sometimes faced with is, and I would say it was brought on by themselves and the lack of interest in coming together to demand better payment on contracts.
Terms and conditions.
Right? No, not so much terms and conditions, because terms and conditions could only be considered if you fighting to get a contract from the government and the government paying a company $27 an hour. It's difficult for that company to pay more than minimum wage to a worker, because it means that you will be paying more than 2/3 of your revenue in wages, which is below the standard.
Correct.
And you remember, outside of wages, there are other overheads, revenue, or other costs to consider. You have to consider the cost of your vehicles, the cost of uniform, the cost of firearms, the cost of gas, and all that kind of thing. In some cases, are more than wages. So it is difficult for security companies sometimes to pay more than minimum wage, but that is a product of disunity, companies not coming together and saying, listen, we put in probably a cap. This is the least we will charge on a contract for a security officer, $40 or $35 or something like that. If that happens, then the cost of security will be more money, but at least security officers will be paid. You have an opportunity to be paid. You will have an opportunity to pay security officers more equitably and compensate them better.
Well, one of the things about the security. Go ahead, caller.
You see, that comes from the concept since the old Central Tenders Board, where the lowest bidder will normally wins the bid, right? So that is how some of those companies started, and the people end up being underpaid and all this, in this city, or they call it quagmire, right? So,
but check what happened. Check what happened with that lowest bidder thing. When you are using security as an example. If you're willing to accept the lowest bidder without looking at or taking into consideration other merits, you might get a company where that is not taking into consideration things like health and safety, that is not taking into consideration proper comportment. So what you might get a watchman.
That's right.
In your place, and not a person who could deter criminal activities, not a person who will come to work who working somewhere else and sleep on your property in the night, and or thief what you have. So you will need security then, and that's what you will get if you want to pay watchman salary, watchman wage on a contract.
Of course, because in the early 60s and 70s, what we call a security officer now used to be a man dressed in a uniform with a torchlight.
Yeah. He even have a torchlight. He coming to work to sleep.
But I remember some of them have the torchlight. Those torchlights with the big face. You understand? Yeah, the Berwick, and they put Berwick batteries, and they're operated by Berwick batteries. Or those
I remember everything, but you know, long I hear that word, boy, Derek battery.
yeah. All right, nice. But this program, I hope this program goes on and on again, on, because it's a very informative. I don't think there was ever a program of such magnitude, right? With such broad-based knowledge, umpire or no umpire.
Yeah.
It is really interesting. A new, fresh blood of talk on radio in Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah, man. So, brother, you all keep it up.
Thanks.
Yeah. And, man. And you have my support.
Thank you. So
okay,
again, you know, the caller probably veers into a real life, different kind of thinking.
Yeah.
Maybe that we should introduce to people. And sometimes people don't understand. I mean, you see a security officer, for instance, right? And you will know that too, because you was in that kind of you administrate human resource management and those and companies like that too. So a security company have a lot of things to think about from time to time. And as I was telling the caller earlier on, if you win a contract because you want to win, you want to take a contract, right? You win a contract for say $25 an hour, but the minimum wage is $21, right? It means you only have $4.50 on an hour of a worker to think. But you might want to provide vehicles. You might want to, you had to have vehicles, right? You had to buy gas for them vehicles. You had some kind of arrangement for gas. You have uniform. You had to pay for uniform and boots and things. Security boots is about $800, right? You have to provide. You have to provide surveillance, and you have to provide electronic surveillance.
Correct.
Right? So you might have a control room. You had to pay other people to do certain things while that security officer is out there to monitor the situation. And if you want that level of security, and that's just a small portion of what you had to do. You had to pay taxes, you had to pay NIS, you had to pay all that kind of thing. So how it is you going to survive? Anybody who tell me that they could take a contract for under $30 and provide good security services without taking advantage of the security officers, I will tell them the man.
Into problems.
Right? So nobody who really want quality security for the business should even entertain a company that's saying, hey, we will take $28 an hour.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. You're not going to get equality. Right? And it's the same thing with everything else, which is why I'm saying that compensating workers the right way, if you want to get the right kind of productivity, you have to be willing to compensate. If you want to pay peanuts, you will get monkeys all the time.
I think I'm also seeing it from another perspective, because going right back to the security industry, what employees have to understand is that when they play around on the job and the company loses the contract, that is another issue there. That's what you have to think about. So you can't just go and do what you want. You have to perform in order to for the company to sustain the contract, because that sustenance means you'll be able to get paid. Because we are talking about all the overhead costs. The company that we know of that had the issue where the officers were they caught in some kind of shooting incident. Look at the vehicle. People were complaining and saying a security firm like that and you'll have a panel van. Those things are costs. When you see some other companies have these big beasts and these armored vehicles, it's a cost to acquire those things.
Exactly. But you see, and the companies with the big armored vehicles and you know, sometimes they are the problem why the security industry is the way it is. You know why? Because what they do is that they operate on economies of scale. So they are able to they have the sunk cost already, and in accounting and finance you know that, right? So they already have the big vehicles, they already have the buildings, they already have all the assets, right? all the other smaller security companies, they may not necessarily
They don't have that. Yeah.
So they're big.
Yeah.
So they could operate at economies of scale. So they could take a contract for $20 and they could wipe out all the other companies while at the same time taking advantage of the workers.
Yeah.
Right? Because people want to work there.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying that, you know, security companies by themselves, they should come together and understand what are the challenges with that in particular, and work together so that at the end of the day it will redound to the betterment of security officers.
Yes.
Right? And because security officers, they are feeling it because you still want to be a security. You still competing for $20 and $30 an hour. And you want to have security officers. You are going to do it yourself. You know?
Yeah.
So you taking that contract and you're going to rent out a man to a company with a jersey, one pants.
Yep.
That he had to come to work 24 hours with, no boots. So he come in some. I see security officers with slippers and thing on the foot already, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Because
and
the
most of them
companies
get them
can't
as a
afford
battle
to
in the state of crime.
Then a baton and a slippers. What you doing? What you really coming to work there to do? To sleep. Huh? You ain't coming to work to say nothing.
Not properly resourced,
right?
And then you're asking about the quality.
Because why? Because you feel you could compete. You feel you will take $25 an hour to be able to compete.
Now there's another issue in terms of that whole security. I saw something recently where persons were saying, why are security officers operating like receptionists? There are companies that are doing that. You have your security at the front desk responding to customers and all of these things.
Well, yeah, again, that's the next thing.
The same paying for service is what we're talking about.
Exactly.
So people, they're more interested in killing two birds with one stone.
Killing two birds with one stone. Paying small money to get, probably something we want to camera there. Yeah, paying small money to get, you know,
service.
To get service.
So the quality will be compromised.
Exactly, the quality is compromised. And that is a concern. That is a concern where security, especially where security is concerned. But when we talk compensation, we don't only talk, can't only talk security.
No,
we have to
no.
go to like supermarkets and all these other places. Now, labor costs, the price you're paying for the service is a direct consequence of the cost.
Yes.
And to a large extent, labor cost sometimes just be a huge cost.
Yeah.
Right? And when you take labor costs and you add to that theft and you add to that non-productive people who do things causing problems, you add to that all the other issues that comes with the job and the workplace that relates to cost. Sometimes you could understand either one thing, why workers not getting paid the way they should be paid, or why they're not getting any kind of service they should be getting from a company.
That's correct.
Or why companies choose to sell the products or what they have to sell so expensive. Right? Somebody was saying the other day that since COVID, companies like Temu, you see how much businesses closing down now?
Yeah.
Because you now have Temu.
Yep,
You now have,
online.
you had Amazon before, but you now have Temu. Where sometimes you see something on Temu and you see the same thing in a store and you say, what really going on here?
Yeah.
The price
and you're purchasing it for double the price.
And now you could go on Temu online with your bank card, your links card, and you could
purchase your
things. So the thing is, all these things are consequence, and it has to do with demand and supply and access to things, but it's also affecting our ability, our foreign reserve and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So companies with large overheads buying these things will find it difficult to sell it at the same price as somebody would buy it for direct.
Yeah.
And all these things are consequent. All these things are what affects
the company's ability to
companies'
pay and
abilities
sustain
to pay and
certain
things.
rates.
It has to do with marketing also and all that kind of thing. So the opening up of things like technology, things like AI, things like all them things saves companies sometimes, but also puts some other businesses out of business.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is something that to a large extent we tend not to understand.
Correct.
But we must understand also that those are the things that dictates price.
Yeah.
And those are the things that dictate how much money you get paid, which is why, according to our discussion over the period we talking about productivity, which is why we had to understand all of that and the nexus with productivity.
Yeah.
Because productivity, you had to make a concerted effort, really, to streamline or organize your business in a certain way. Compensation, who you hire, how you hire them, right? How you manage the performance, how you treat with them in terms of engagement, and that's the next thing.
Yes.
Right? That's the next thing. Some people, maybe you might be more able to talk about engagement, because some people, some employers just see you as a cog, just see you as you're coming to work and are paying you good, and that's it.
And that's it.
That's all you should be happy about. But that is not what it is. That is not how it should be. As a matter of fact, engagement is important. Good evening, caller.
Hey guys and lady, good afternoon. How y'all going?
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
All right, cool. Well, honestly, I'm now literally now getting to tune in because I now finished work. I hear the last couple sentences you mentioned about the way in which some employers might view employees. But before my contribution on that, I was really thinking, clearly you guys and ladies sound like y'all have a good bit of theoretical and also practical experience in the fields you all speak on. So I was really even thinking from yesterday that it might be nice, possibly in the future, if you all have like live conferences now, like seminars where same forum how you all speaking in, we could listen to you all on radio on Zoom, but actually like in person. But then like just a few seconds ago I was thinking, well, that might be like a all the time thing. Like if it's if it's like a big topic, then maybe you could invite persons to do maybe online surveys first, so then you get a sense of what the crowd thinking. So then when you really have the in-person conference, then it could be a bit more structured and gather a bit more information. So that's just a little idea there. But in terms of, as you were saying, the way some employers might view employees, I myself in some little account studies I did back in the day, they have wages and salaries as an expense, right? But and then when they define assets, you have a current asset and you have a fixed asset. A current asset is defined in the way that the value of that current asset may fluctuate within a given year, whereas the value of a fixed asset
is that depreciation and it's a sunk cost, but you got to consider depreciation and that kind of thing.
True, yeah, but it's not as volatile as, let's say, like stocks or something like that. But conceptually, some employees, as we may know traditionally, they might, if you even from the start you aim to hire people as permanent, and maybe 6 months, and we know employees stay with a year, 2 years. So employees, that was a look thinking back in the day, but employees really build your company. Without employees, you kind of have like a vehicle without an engine.
I say all the time that, employees are just like how you have your vehicles and as capital, employees also represent a different kind of capital, a human capital in the business. And in fact, they are more important than that, because without the human, unless your business is a business run with machines and robots and AI and that kind of thing alone, human beings, and even if it does, you have to market your product, you have to get it outside there. So at the end of the day, what you need to understand is the value of your human capital.
That's right.
And if you understand the value of your human capital, you will do certain things that would bring about a certain kind of equilibrium. So a lot of people think
and
if
also,
I pay,
and also inspire your employees.
yes. So then we was just going to talk about engagement, which talks about motivation and motivating employees in the workplace.
Unfortunately, your comments are a little close, so I will close there. But I mean, just add, we know some businesses, they may have started off as sole traders, and they might even be multinational corporations now. So even the owner himself, at once upon a time, was an employee also.
That's right.
Exactly.
So I'll listen off here. A great program, guys. Keep up the great work, and we'll definitely continue listening.
Thank you. Yeah. So I was saying, engagement. That is so important as an element in the whole HR process. That sometimes our employers say, well, what we giving them, what we telling them happy birthday, or what we having this birthday club for, what we getting from that? Yeah. All
it's a
of
sense
that.
of belonging.
As not just that, a sense of motivation in the workplace. If I feel that, if you make me feel part of the organization, you make me feel like you love my children, you love my family, you have that same kind of feeling that you would perpetuate for my own family, then I would want to be part of your organization. I'd want to work differently. I'd want to give you a few hours after work sometimes. I know it's traffic to go up the road and we need to get this done. I have no problem staying back and get it done because you paid me properly. And you only paid me properly intrinsically. You're compensating me properly, not just by pay, but by your attitude and how you
treatment as well is
treat with me and how you see me as a worker. You know, I might need to go and pick up my child a little earlier and probably bring back my child in the office.
You can't be so hard and fast and expect people to support you.
Yes. So all of that relates to engagement, and sometimes if you just allow workers, something I always talk to employers about, always have an exit interview.
Correct.
When somebody leave. Because that exit interview gives you a whole lot of data that sometimes if you look at it and you look to see what the correlation in all that data is, the correlation might tell you that, listen, 9 out of 10 of the people who left say that supervisor causes the problem. That will help you manage and run your business properly better, because you know that supervisor in particular might need some kind of training. That supervisor you might need to move that supervisor from where he or she is and put him in a different area. So all these elements, sometimes we don't understand. Employers don't understand. They don't understand the science of it. And therefore, they aren't able to provide the kind of service, or they end up in a kind of diminishing return kind of situation where they feel they're putting out so much, they're not getting back for it. But really and truly, you're putting it out in the wrong place.
Correct.
Or you're doing the wrong set of things.
Correct.
Employer Simoya, or caller Simoya, or caller Steve Matheson, and find out what is the best program, or what is the best system we could put in place to run this. Good evening.
Good afternoon, umpires. Good evening, Mr. Matheson. Good evening, Mr. Moya. How are you guys doing today?
Good so far.
Right. Well, I'm coming a little bit late to here. So, Mr. Matheson and Mr. Moya, so the security officers, do they have training in first aid? Do they have training in like self-defense and surveillance?
Well, you talking about security officers in Miami, where you are in Trinidad and Tobago.
We don't have that here.
In Trinidad and Tobago, what more security do? They give you like a 1 day or 2 day training.
You get basic training.
Right? You get basic training. More so about the location they're going and send you on. You ain't learning to march and all them things again. That's a long time thing. You might how you wear your uniform. Maybe how you speak to people, what to look for, you know, these kind of things. Basic training, and they put you all in. Because really and truly it's a revolving door. They know you know more than likely you're not going to stay long, right? More than likely you're going to stay 2 weeks.
And then the manpower is needed, so they wouldn't have that time to pull you off of the post and send you to training.
So you stay a few weeks, you stay a few months, and you leave, we get next person and we put them through the same system, and by that time that next person go on to the next security company and the same thing start over again. And that's the reality. But it has little to do with the security company too, because the security company who run anything is survival.
Yes.
So it has everything to do. It has everything to do with the government and legislating or putting certain things in place to protect workers, not just to protect workers, but they themselves, government. You know how many government agencies haven't paid security company for years or for months, owing them millions of dollars?
Correct.
Right?
Wow.
That too will assist in paying proper wages and that kind of thing.
Quality
so
of service
that too is a problem.
Yep.
You know? So
because you know, sorry, as I'm listening, there's a lot of problem with the minimum wage and the cost of living in Trinidad.
Well, it shouldn't be, because you know in the US, minimum wage and thing is nothing. Minimum wage is just there as a barometer, but not even as a barometer, because nobody pays minimum wage. It's employing people in the US for the most part is a competitive thing. So it's who could pay the better wages, get the better employees. Right? So if you want good employees, you pay good wages, and of course, it has certain caps, it has certain areas where you wouldn't get more than a certain amount, because of course, wage is an expense to an organization, and of course, if you add your expense and you minus that from your revenue, you will get what you could pay and what you can't pay.
Okay. All right. Well, it's a great conversation. I'm going to look back at the program later on, you know, when I finish, so I could hear everything. And so I'll be learning and agreed. And as the guy say, you guys need to have conferences. The government should pay you guys, and you need to educate the young people with these things.
Yeah,
and that is a great idea. You know,
that is true. That could happen.
Well, you know, Mr. Matteson, you know, you got to get your 2,000 US hour, so
I think they will pay that, but I think they will pay that.
All right, guys, I love understand.
Okay. Yeah. So we earlier in the discussion in the week earlier or late last week, we started off by talking when we were talking this whole productivity discussion.
Yes.
We started off by talking about recruitment.
Yes.
How you recruit based on a strategy, you recruit based on a vision and a mission and that kind of thing, which cascades down to HR, and HR will say, this is the kind of person we need to recruit. This is how we need to onboard that person. This is how we pay this person, compensate this person, and these are the policies. We roll out the necessary policies. But it goes further than that, because the onboarding will tell a company exactly how that person fits into the culture of the organization, and also whether or not this is what this person was signed up for. This is whether or not we could keep this person, whether or not this person is the material for which, even though we would have recruited them properly, right? This is the period where you now get to understand the person and the fit for the organization. Then you would, of course, look at the managing the performance, and you have different elements in which, as you know, how you manage your workers. So you have the performance appraisals, which is just one part of the whole thing. There's a small part in the whole performance management system. Because when you have problems, you have interventions like coaching and mentorship and training and all that kind of thing. All those things are things that companies need to invest in, so that you get the right kind of results at the end of the day from employees, right? And then, of course, where you did not do those things and have good engagement packages or good engagement, what you would say is a good engagement intervention or a good engagement platform. So some companies will have things like sports day, which is
yeah,
a good
so
thing to
a lot of
motivate
people
workers.
ask for that. But you know, one of the things I've discovered, you see around Christmas time, people
Right.
want those little hampers or
Appreciation.
that kind of thing.
Yeah, so appreciate
I have
award.
seen
You ain't giving
where
nothing for the whole
Christmas
year,
time,
Christmas, appreciate me now.
people want that
Yes.
because it helps a lot. You
Right.
see bonuses as well.
That too.
That is a big issue because again, people saying I work so hard during this year.
Yeah, but again, all those things are product of productivity.
Correct.
So
But something else that if you want to discount the money issue, something that's happening a lot that people don't know about. You see people leave and time off. There are a lot of companies where people are not getting the opportunity to go on their leave. They're calling them while they're on work, while they homesick and
That's
all
bad
of these
management.
things.
That's
Of
bad
course it's bad, but it's happening. It's happening and people are not getting an opportunity to rest and recover. So, you know, I worked at a particular place where that was an issue. People would just feel happy to be left alone when they're sick, left alone when they're on vacation. So something like that, that's chasing people
This is
away.
why engagement and motivation in the workplace is important. Now, I know many of you might be listening to us over time and you want to know who are we. We are also employment law consultants and human resource management consultants. We understand the game, we understand how to fix it, we understand the analytics, we understand the science of HR, we understand how to keep your best worker, how to manage them, how to terminate them, everything, we understand it. You can always call me. My name is Stephen Matheson. You can call me on 382-4208 anytime, and I will assist you. And I'm sure you can call Seymour. Seymour has some really nice engagement facilities.
Well, yes, apart from that, if you have persons who are doing internal interviews and they have challenges, you can call me at 722-0371 for interview preparation.
Exactly. So
722-0371. Interview prep intensive.
Right, and of course you can call me on 382-4208. I'll always be willing to help you and assist you at a cost.
At a cost. In Jesus' name.
In Jesus' name. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've unpacked so many, and I like to close off this discussion with these helpful hints on things like HR and IR and that kind of thing. And so in the coming weeks, we might talk to you a lot more about things like employment law and how you deal with employees or how employees deal with situations that may confront them from time to time in relation to dispute. Right? So we will see you tomorrow. We have to leave now, and good luck.
All right.
Tune in to the Street 919 FM for Gospel in the Bone Ministry every Sunday from 7:05 a.m. to 8:55 a.m.